because we have a couple folks coming as we're going live. First of all, welcome everybody. I think we're expecting at least one class, because I think Pete Smucker's class at Stetson is supposed to be assigned our stream tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really exciting. We all love
Homework
Pete.
assignment.
He's great. And the students are fantastic as well.
You get an A. And you get an A.
That's right.
Also
all of
get
you.
an A.
Is that how this works?
So my teaching philosophy, was based on this amazing mentor I had who's since left Michigan State, but she was incredibly helpful in my first 3 or 4 years there. And she said, here's how to grade people. Ask the absolute world of your students. Make them work impossibly hard. And then just give everybody an A.
Yep. Same.
And I love that,
They're
actually.
like
My
that,
students always step up when I ask them to. They do amazing cool stuff for me. And then, because they do that, everybody just gets good grades and I don't have to worry about it. That's the goal when everything is functioning anyway.
Yeah. Big caveat.
Right. The biggest asterisk. I just need to get out the whiteboard tool and draw a big star across the wall.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. In any case, some of our regular viewers might notice we have a 5th person on tonight. Everybody welcome Damien Castbauer from Audio Kinetic to the stream, please.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Damien's amazing. He does all sorts of organizing, both for Audio Kinetic and for the industry writ large. Dana and I met Damien at GameSoundCon 7 years ago now, Damien?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And he's been absolutely fantastic.
Well, the community takes care of itself and each other, so that's a two-way street.
Here, here.
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo.
And I will say, the game audio industry is small in some of the best ways, in the sense that I really think we have one of the best professional communities around. Other folks don't have what we have at GameSoundCon and at the Gang Awards, and I really like that we do.
Okay, you want my hot take on that?
Yes.
By the way, this is going to be nothing but hot takes for me tonight. I'm just
Heck
right
yeah.
on the edge, so...
Excellent.
I am so here for this.
Everyone here plays an instrument, or at some point did, I assume?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes, okay, cool. And we can all maybe agree that there's a certain level of communication amongst people who play instruments together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, whether you're coordinating in a linear piece, you're improvising between other performers, and I just think that translates directly to the game audio community and how we communicate, how we work together, how we jam, and how we get along.
Yeah.
I
absolutely
1000% agree.
agree with that. Right, I'm going to slide all of our portraits to the left now.
Did I do it right?
Boom. You did do it correctly, which is to gesture to your right, and then we shoot to the left. Yes, you have to mirror yourself. And I'm going to move my XSplit production window into the corner of the other monitor, so that we can all... Oh no, I have to open my production window one more time because I have Dana's transcription shared right now. That's no good.
Yeah.
We gotta unshare that.
Transcriptions. Just a few.
Dana's done some work for everybody. We'll get there. Alright, but now, everybody, both
process.
my friends on the call and my friends in the chat, should be able to see and hear my PS5 now.
Seeing it.
Yes, perfect.
Oh.
Alright.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Good.
Woohoo.
Sorry about the brief flare from Returnal. I just hit my controller to make sure it was working. Here we go. Let's let up
Alright.
Shadow of the Colossus. I'm extremely excited to check out the remake of this. This game has all sorts of amazing stuff going for it. But if you've not experienced it before, I think I want to say little, actually. And just let it run for a couple minutes. And then we'll get to
sounds
some
good.
hopefully smart
Takes.
conversation. But you
Hot
deserve
takes
to
only.
just experience the introduction of this one on your own terms.
Yeah, and then we'll look at my transcription of the prologue. I love the brat chat icon from Dom. Hey, Dom.
And this will be my first time playing the remake by Bluepoint for PS4. I'm extremely excited about that as well. If I could have one of the people in chat let me know how the levels are, I'd appreciate it.
As a violinist, the string writing in this game is very, very, very good.
I was just reflecting for a moment on when Ocarina of Time released. They kind of half apologized that there was no real horse combat because their engine would not handle it. And I remember arriving to Shadow of the Colossus thinking, this is next-gen gaming. Horse gaming.
Horse gaming.
Oh, that looks beautiful. Look at that. Look at the waterfall.
This wide shot here, though,
was
is
gonna
the
say,
exact same
cinematography.
cinematography of Ocarina of Time. Right, moving from right to left there, that's not an accident. This game knows its history within the medium and without.
That's quite a bridge design. Would that actually work? Everything's like arcing in the
That's
same direction.
Yeah, does it ever turn back?
Is that structurally sound?
We're
The
good
degree
at some
does-
sound,
the degree does not
structural
qualify me.
sound.
To tell you.
Lord.
Next time we need an architect on stream.
Yeah.
That's
right.
true.
This whole series across Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, The Last Guardian, like the color palette, the tonality, the kind of monochrome or yellow tinted aspect of it is so like clearly an aesthetic, and I love how they lean into it.
Yeah.
I really like when a game just like is so stylized. A lot of my favorite games have like a very committed style.
I want to point
When
out
did this game originally come out, actually?
05.
Okay.
the original's 2005. The remake is, I think, 2019, maybe 2018,
Okay.
on PS4.
We've got some speculation in the chat that this architecture probably is not holding up. Invoking Gaudi on this stream is like next level architecture all of a sudden.
Listen, we have some classy friends. Also,
I wasn't
hello, Federal
ready.
Agent Sloth. I believe, if I remember, Federal Agent Sloth's background is in civil engineering, urban planning. So,
Okay.
Makes sense.
correct me in chat.
Oh, now the horse is startled?
Julianne,
I was
don't judge.
about to say the horse is so calm for like.
For being on an unstable bridge.
I would not have made it
Way
over
up
that
in the
bridge,
air.
and I'm not a horse.
Well, actually, the door closing right behind it
Yeah.
loudly. I was sort
Yeah.
of wondering.
I want to point out quickly,
Well, it's
though we are
urban
looking at the very nice, and I am impressed, this is my first time really seeing it, the PS4 remake of the game, the large sense of space, both in this cathedral and in the bridge that starts the prologue, were present in the original, and it was really one of the first times in gaming that level of epic spectacle appeared in games.
I'll back that.
We love a chime. Gotta have some chimes in our desecrated temples.
Uh-huh.
Grounded still in like the cinematic string so that we know we are not being, we're still looking at like more of an inner world and setting the scene rather than a place
There's a
music.
reason we needed to rip the shroud off. Like,
So we would animate it like floating.
I know, yes, it was for that, but
Is there a reason it has to be papyrus? God. Sorry.
don't font shame. So,
I'll do what
some
I
people
think.
love papyrus.
Acceptable. I'm here for those. I'm here for those
Ancient.
hot takes.
I think that's a cold take. Who likes papyrus? Nobody.
This speech and almost the entirety of the communicated narrative of the game is very like Lynchian in the sense that you're not told the entirety of anything at any point. You're meant to fill in those gaps for yourself. And it is absolutely possible to interpret this speech 50 different ways and come to 50 different conclusions as to what the purpose of this thing is.
I think I had forgotten about the alien language concatenation of strange syllables and plosives.
Yeah, gotta love a conlang.
The inventing your own language for like a fantasy system, whether we're talking about games or films here, is a really interesting exercise. And there's a couple people in gaming that kind of make a regular habit out of this. Both Laura and Travia, who's a kind of a semi-regular person on the stream, and Jillian Aversa come to mind as being like particular experts in linguistics that don't actually exist.
Yeah, that's a specialty within singing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know people that like won't even learn real languages. You know, like they struggle if they have to sing in like Russian, let alone a language that doesn't otherwise exist.
Although if you mess up in a fake language, who's gonna call you out?
It's true.
Okay, the voice processing definitely gets cooler now that we've transitioned from storytelling to disembodied voice.
Yeah. Like there is a sense of it
Acousmatic
being
voice.
like a poly being, you know, like kind of
Yes.
having multiple voices in one.
And I like that from the pitch range perspective of the voice, you can't assume a gender of the character.
Yeah.
Right?
Like Chaos in Hades.
Yes.
Sounds
Yeah.
similar too.
In surround, it's cool too because you have voices moving around in the rear speakers as well.
Yeah.
Alright, so she's been...
How do you get a cursed fate? That's just what I want to know.
Yeah, bad dice roll, right?
I'm not saying I want one. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Where can I get
I
one
mean-
of those cursed fates?
There was a time in history where having someone with like a disability was considered a mark of having a cursed fate, or like somebody in your family sinning, and that being the payment for it.
A lot of people, those times still exist, unfortunately.
Well, we've mostly moved to a medical model now, as opposed to the divine disfavor model. But you know, they don't ever really go away. They kind of coexist
Right.
awfully.
Cool.
I also like the we pronoun for Dorman there.
Yeah, again, there's a multiplicity implied here.
There's
Okay, this
another
is-
voiceover from around the same time period that does that, and it's Azura, the Daedra from the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, has one of these narrative type of introductions, and when you encounter her in the game, she's she, her pronouns, but the voice transcends.
You too. You bet, Sanada.
Yeah, games do the two hyphens all the time. Microsoft Word will often like auto format that for you.
Yeah. Should have used Word for this game.
Ola. You too
The
new.
price you pay will be heavy
Yeah.
indeed.
And then it doesn't matter. And I am picking up a little bit of it. I don't know how well it translates across Discord and the stream to folks who aren't in my house right now. But Dorman
Which is all of us?
does circulate around the headphones. Here.
That's cool.
I think I just hear it in both.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm getting it. I'm getting as much.
I'm not
spatial.
getting movement.
Brian, do you have 3D audio toggled on using headphones? Come on.
No, I don't. In
Just
part
a
because I
little
don't know
spit.
if it would translate to you all at all over Discord.
Yeah.
I don't think so, though.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Won't.
All right.
But like the higher tessitura voices are to my right and behind me, and the male ones are over here.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Are you ready to look at that prologue?
Yeah. Do you want to hear that on your transcription and look at it in the original really quickly?
Yes.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. It's R1 for the sword. Yes.
Oh yeah. Do whatever tutorializing you need.
Yeah. Let me get on the horse and get through like do this, press this
Yeah,
button, so that I'm not fumbling for the controls in a minute.
Sounds good.
This is one of the few examples that I remember playing where music goes away entirely for long periods of time.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be silent for a nice long while now. And I forget, can I jump down from here? Or do I need to find how to wander down with the horse?
Your name is Wander.
Wow.
Unhelpful. Dana, here we go.
I'm just
You know,
pointing out.
Nominal determinism? Get the hell out there. Oh, you're in the horse's ass. Some
one does.
ludonarrative dissonance right here.
I can never win with Julianne Grasso. All right,
True.
let's go, horse. Come on.
Does the horse have a name?
Oh, I hate
Yes,
the
aggro.
antagonist.
What is it?
Aggro.
Aggro.
Aggro. That's right.
You know,
Yes, and
clearly
now I
it's
can do this type of
pretty
thing.
aggressive, angry horse.
And we want to go this way.
Most chill horse we've seen so far.
No.
But let's stop. And I'm going to mute the game and pause.
This is so beautiful.
Do you want me to share you? Did you want to like play the audio from a YouTube video as opposed to my playback, which is not?
Whatever you would prefer, Dana. I think we can probably get away with playback. It'll be all right.
Okay, as long as we know that sometimes I didn't have samples that I needed.
Yeah, let me grab the production window here
Yeah.
and make your stuff visible for folks. All right.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So, so this is the prologue. I think it's called like To the Ancient Land, or the prelude. And I'll just note that what I was really reminded of in the opening, and we we might want to listen to this. I don't know how familiar folks are with Alan Hovhannis's string writing in particular, like Mysterious Mountain. I get a lot of like Mysterious Mountain vibes from this. There's kind of like an open-ended harmony and phrasing that reminds me a lot of Hovhannis. So I'll note that. And then there's also a part that reminds me of Vivaldi's Summer, but I'll point that out when we get there. So one of the first things to note is the bouzouki, the lute. This was something that Kotani notes was central to this score because he wanted it to sound kind of ancient, but not implying a particular place. And this gets used in a lot of video games for that reason, because it can kind of go a lot of different directions. And I was actually initially having trouble identifying this instrument. And then I saw an interview where he said that. And I'm like, of course, if I don't know what a plucked string is, it's probably this. But yeah, we have, luckily, the vocals are pretty much wordless throughout, paging Karen's work. Wordless vocals. And then organ. And then this is not a dizzy. It was just like, it sounded kind of fluty,
Sure.
but not like
Yeah.
a normal flute. And I tried shakuhachi, and that wasn't quite right either. Like, I'm not quite sure.
Oh, we're only seeing the mixer when you hit play.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I mean, I can redock it. Hold on.
Oh yeah, interesting. It's just
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Huh.
How about this?
Perfect.
yeah.
It's also going to sound so square because, of course, like the rhythms are a little more soloistic and improvisatory.
Actually, for what it's worth, I've heard worse in like sheet music software. This isn't bad.
And now we get to what I call the Vivaldi Summer section. This is like the second movement, the haze, like leading into the storm. Because it just has a hesitancy to it that reminds me of that. And then we open up a bit with larger instrumentation.
What strikes me the most about the Picardy third we just kind of transitioned through is that string line we're hearing now, this is a lament. Something is not good.
Yeah.
Right? And unlike a lot of quests where we're meant to save somebody, right? We don't usually start with the morning music.
Mm-hmm.
Did we get a Picardy third? I thought we just got the
There's a lot of
Not
play with
faded.
major and minor thirds throughout.
modal mixture. That's not what I've been doing in my class last week.
It's also
This
funny
is
to
very
me that like
cinematic.
you go to Vivaldi, which I think is the right analogy here,
Just in that one part.
but
Here we're in Alan Hovhannis territory, which I'll send you a video.
But early on, we're still very Catholic the entire time. Right? Like, organ plus the way the chant is written here in the parts, the tenor on the constant note, like, this is a very Catholic thing.
So we end on a major chord. It's happy, right?
Because
here, Ryan,
Wander has made his peace with it.
Right.
Right?
Let me do this link real quick, because I think you'll get what I'm hearing about the instrumentation.
Yeah.
Or about the string writing just from like the very opening of this.
Sure. Let me grab this. Copy. All right. And I'm actually going to share this in the other browser for my own organization's sake, I think. Hold on 1 second, everybody. Got to do a little production nonsense here.
There's some other stuff where when I make comparisons, I actually transcribed the thing that I'm comparing to for you, but here I wasn't able to get this in time. So,
I have like a mass take, but I'm afraid to say it in front of Karen, or like why it sounds in places early music-y.
Okay.
But I think it's stupid.
I want to know
Lay it
why
on
you're
me.
afraid to say it in front of Karen. That's very funny.
Yeah,
to me.
are you afraid she's going to tell you you're wrong?
Yeah, because that's what she does. No, not like tell people they're wrong, but
Oh, that's what I say.
All right,
does
there's
early music
the
and
link
video.
for folks on the stream, and here is the link for folks in chat. Okay. Sorry, I'm having to like produce in real time here.
Just that.
Yeah, I'm throwing a lot at
let's,
Ryan today.
No,
I can handle myself here. Let's listen
Yeah.
to this for
I'm
just a
ready.
moment.
Oh,
it's
does
okay.
Julian get to tell her
It's
us
fine.
her story?
I'll never say
No,
it.
do it. Tell your story before I hit play.
Oh, I
Let's
just
go.
want to, because it's about this piece. I just
Yeah.
wanted to say, like in the beginning and also towards the end, there's a real emphasis on the fifth. And as much like in the beginning, I was like, oh, this is like going to be D minor, but it's clearly G minor. And then it's the ambiguity is there. And even if you do have like cadences, they often like kind of work within like a tetrachord essentially, rather than necessarily really having all of that. That's also the modality of it. It's like very Aeolian in the beginning, so you don't have strong leading tones toward one particular tonic. But otherwise, I mean, I'm not going to confuse it for a mass, but like some aspects of it are like, oh, we're trying to lean early in that kind of particular way. To me. Okay, bye.
No, I think
Argue with that?
Yeah, I think that's a good take.
Why would I
I think
argue with
the
that?
modality throughout is something that we can be looking at.
Yeah. All right, let's hear this Hovannes piece.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave up this ending part because this is really where I hear this. Like this kind of string writing right here.
Oh yeah, this is big,
Right?
epic, cinematic, opening
Yeah.
sounds for sure.
I'm also just a huge Hovannes fan, so if this is anybody's introduction to Hovannes, you're welcome. That's probably good. That proves my point, I think. And yeah, I don't know if you want to bring up Vivaldi Summer if folks know that one, probably know that one well enough, but I can jump back.
I think I'll leave that one aside in favor of doing more game here.
Yeah.
Let me.
Yeah, definitely like those two
this.
things, in addition to all of the things that we were pointing to in terms of like the open-endedness of sounding chant-like, and
Yeah.
like it's not like we were never in 4/4 because we were, but like there's a lot of uneven phrasing and like paired imitation stuff happening, where like
Yeah.
and usually it's organ in one of the voice parts and then it would drop down to the low and then the high again. I don't know. And like, the instrumentation of the choir and the organ, of course. There's also a lot, not in this track, but in later tracks, a lot of tubular bells, which are going to give us that, like, fate.
Yeah. All right, I want to talk about sound effects and implementation while we have Damien on for just a minute.
Okay,
here.
my lowbrow
Yay,
take on the prologue though
Yeah, do it.
is
Oh, yeah.
X-Files theme song foreshadowing aliens.
Ooh.
I'll take it.
I love
I'll
it.
take that.
No spoilers.
I want to talk
Feel
about
we're safe. I
the
think we're
very
safe.
cool, and I forget if this is new to the remake or if this was in the PS2 game as well. Damien might remember. The
Oh,
diffusion
Ryan.
of the sound effect from the sword. Can you all hear that when I'm on
Oh, yeah.
target?
Can you share the whole screen?
The whole screen.
I think you have a window in front of it,
Yes, I do. I have your sheet music up.
which
That's original for sure. And again, you're
Yeah.
talking about the way that the sound modulates based on how in focus the beam of light is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hot, and it's just absolutely original. Yeah,
Yeah, it was in the original PS2 game. Yeah.
totally. But it's a cool trick.
It is a cool trick.
Helps you orient with sound. There was a great mechanic in a game that came out last year called Flock, where when you're capturing these tiny creatures, it would do something similar when you were in focus to lasso these creatures. And I think it's so effective, so dynamic.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
nice.
I also really love that the framing of the avatar here is to the right. It is not centered, and it always keeps you in a
Yeah.
very cinematic mind view, right?
The camera is a character in this game, I swear to God.
Yeah.
And
What are you eating,
Not like
Julian?
Lakitu or anything.
there's
Well,
actually a
man,
modern game
English.
that also gets that bit with the
Delicious.
horse and the camera correct. It's one of my favorite moments in current gen gaming, and that is the release to the open world in Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. That's so cinematic, that game.
All right, let's see what we can do. We have music now, by the way, of course, because we are
Because we're
in-
approaching.
yes.
It's
we
just,
are-
So for anybody unfamiliar with the gameplay cycle, we're gonna have a lot of downtime when it's just the environmental sounds. A lot of the game is silent, but where the music comes in is when you are approaching a Colossus, and then there's kind of a middle, they're recognizing you phase, and then there's like a ramp up, and then the victory fanfare question mark, and then getting transported back to that central like temple that we were in before. But anytime we're kind of in the world, the music drops out.
Yeah, and when you get back to the temple is actually one of my favorite cues.
I have that one transcribed for you, so I'm glad that it's your favorite.
Yeah, and it was great to see the music float by, and nice work on that. Sounded good.
All right,
These
I-
score
I'm gonna
samples
take a
aren't as good
moment
as
here
Sibelius, but I got sick of paying for Sibelius.
to comment on
Yeah.
this wild view, and the distance here is a little bit improved from the PlayStation 2 original, but not nearly as much as you probably assume it is.
Yeah.
You could see just a stupid distance into the open world, even on the PS2 game. And in terms of scope, there's a lot of world to explore here, and in a world where games have things like budgets and development time constraints,
What?
this is a very unmodern game in that sense, because the philosophy for most modern game design is to be budget efficient. Don't build things that aren't part of the gameplay per se, right? That under the hood, for instance, in a lot of modern games, if you're never going to see the fourth side, the backside of a building, it will never be rendered. Right? There's a lot of memory-saving tricks like that, and it doesn't feel like Shadow... I am aware under the hood it does, in fact, do those things. But you're
the
never
back of
meant
my
to
hair.
feel that in this game. You're meant to feel the scope and the size all the time here.
It's true, and I'll say in the remake here, the remaster, the level of detail at distance is far greater. You know,
Yes.
you have that, you could see that far, but not as clearly as in the remaster.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I love the design of the Colossi. Every single one is a world unto itself.
It's kind of beautiful that they can't get it all in frame, or that they choose not to get it all in frame, and in that way the sound has to carry that
Yes.
more than it would if you had, Godzilla on the screen, for instance.
And before I approach this, I want to set the stage here just a moment. Because this is absolutely not the first instance of dynamic audio in games where the music updates for the gameplay state. But it's so effective here that it is generationally defining for me. Academically, this had been done since, at least since Monkey Island 2 and the iMuse system from the old LucasArts games and X-Wing. But this feels like the first implementation since those days on PC where this is going to be how it's done in the future for all flagship titles.
Well, can you Mickey Mouse it once it is triggered?
I don't know. I think I can.
Run away!
Bye.
And it's not an immediate threshold like
Okay,
a comic
John
Mickey
Williams,
Mouse.
get
But I think
that.
if I jump down the cliff, the music will go away, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Where's Frank? We need Frank here. Comment on the John Williams of it all.
Andrew is Frank's like
Liaison.
minion. Not I didn't want to say minion. That's actually not what I meant.
Sidekick? That's not right.
I don't know how far I would have to go. The music is still
Proxy.
going.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I actually thought it would have cut around here.
Is it still?
It's
does
not
it want
fading out or anything, yeah.
Does it want to make you feel like it's still coming after you, even if it literally can't?
Oh, from a
Ooh,
gameplay
I hear that localization now.
from a
Yeah.
gameplay perspective, I am very safe here. The Colossus cannot
Right.
get to me.
Right, but does it still want to give you some fear?
Maybe.
Oh, look at your horse. It's like, hi.
Your horse is like,
I'm
"Whoa,
actually
buddy."
kind of surprised that it's still going.
Yeah, like how far do you have to go?
Right there.
Okay.
Oh, like out of this place.
Okay. And the question is, did you cross a line, trigger a fade, or did that cue finally reach its end?
I think
Good call.
I crossed a threshold.
Oh.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah, okay.
you will never get the introductory cue again. Right? Because
Right.
this was not the music that played the first time I arrived
Right.
here.
Right.
And
I do like that touch.
I will note that if you're going to try and play with this boundary, this is one of the only Colossi for which it works this easily, because a lot of them are harder to disengage from once you kind of
For
arrive.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, like that technique persists to this day in so many games, right?
Ooh.
And I can think of how I use that as a gamer too, where like if I'm doing like Assassin's Creed and like there's battle music, you know, I can kind of back off like, oh, I wanted to be stealthier about that, you know.
Yes.
Ooh, I love all the brass things that they're doing. The slides and the flutter tone stuff.
And this is all going to be state-driven now. I don't remember if this boss swings at you or
Talking
not.
about
He might just hang out with you.
Our sassy brass here is
Okay.
yeah, it's gonna tell you what to do here. Paint the target. Not like Realm.
Yeah.
Alright, listen to the music when I finally do this. Hold on.
Look at my asthma coming off of it.
My asthma. Sucks to your asthma, piggy.
Right here, the music should shift.
Yeah. It's gonna get more like, you're in it now!
That's his butt.
Much more heroic, kind of like we've been classically trained to understand it in a filmic sense, right?
Yes, and this is the track that they play if you hear like the Shadow of the Colossus segment at Video Games Live.
gonna say, Julianne, when you mentioned the flutter tongue stuff, they were also using tremolo in the strings to kind of go with that like nervous, shaky energy.
Yeah.
Protege, but sometimes an obsessed fan. Yeah, I understand that. I definitely have folks in this field that I'm definitely an obsessed fan of.
Ouch. Ugh.
I'm facing the wrong way, annoyingly. Hold on.
Oh, here we go. Eee.
There.
Ooh,
Blood fountain.
hurts my head.
And the fact that it's like a black, shadowy substance too.
That tracks.
You're like, okay, I've dispelled the evil, right? I have this track transcribed and the one that follows it. So after we complete the cycle, we can do those back to back.
Yeah, once we return to the open world here and start
Yeah.
cycle 2, I think.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, thanks, camera.
Such cinematography.
Did I just die there?
Did you
he
die from the thing?
Oh, no.
Okay.
You black out and
So-
you're warped back.
So what you didn't see was the giant black tendril coming out of the Colossus into your body and sucking the life
Yes.
out of
Oh, okay.
you. Yeah.
That's pretty key.
Or maybe infusing you with its energy.
Oh. Yeah, you're definitely gaining some kind of a power here, right?
Right.
Oh.
The funeral bell at the start of this track is excellent.
Bad Bell. Sad Bell. Sorry, not Bad Bell. Sad Bell. We already had Bad Bell.
It's not a great bell. But yeah, sad.
We don't have Glad Bell yet. Unless they get married. Hee hee.
Can we get a Taco Bell up here?
Bong.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's it.
Oh. Oh, hell yeah. Type that order.
Fave.
Raise thy courage. Do my best.
Alright, and for those of you who have not seen the game before, that's the entire core gameplay loop. If you do that 16 times, you're a winner.
Wait, it's 16?
Is
Why
it-
did I remember?
Yeah.
Is it 12?
8? 12?
I thought it was 8. I thought it was
16.
8. But am I a
Pretty
fool?
sure it's 16.
I thought it was 16. It could be
I haven't played.
12 if
I'm
my
like-
memory's wrong. It is not 8. 8 is too few. Well, that would be useful if I ever took damage, but... No, I'm just...
Well,
Alright, Dana, do you want to
We haven't
listen,
done anything
look at
hard
your
in a while.
transcriptions before we move on and do this a
Yeah,
second time here?
yeah. Let me share you into the battle.
Because we're this way, behind the temple. Yeah, we're a ways from this thing. Alright,
Okay.
I'm going to pause and mute again. Go back into production space here. Hold on. The view is going to go black for everybody, and that's fine. We're going to watch Dana's stream once more. We're going to turn Dana's stream on. And then... Okay, Dana, give it a go.
Okay, so here, our end of battle fanfare. It definitely doesn't sound like triumphant. There's no brass. It's strings. Oops, let's not change the pitches. And voice for the whole thing. So. Oh, we get a nice cadence to G. It's happy. Oh, is it?
It is still. Ah, shit. Nope. Ah!
Reaching. Jump over here. Weapon. Now we keep getting G, G minor. G, G minor.
Oh.
10 times we get this.
Sure, it's not 16 times?
It's not. I counted.
That would be fun.
I really like that third to the flat third when it's lower in the viola, especially earlier on, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, notably, it sounds like a game over track, right? Like we have our emotive strings and our like vocals, the kind of overall falling gestures here, like this. Oops. How about I?
Oh yeah, groovy.
Like that kind of falling gesture.
Yeah.
Definitely has the holy vibe with the wordless choir, but I think then we ultimately get kind of like a half-hearted D major to G major cadence, right?
Not a half cadence, it was a half-hearted cadence.
Yeah, half-hearted cadence. But then it does these three, like, you could read it as like a minor 4 to 1. We keep getting these like C minor to G moments.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's not plagal, right? Like it's not right, but it's like. So I joked in my notes that it's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah, y'all. It's an amen cadence, but wrong. And then
major lift.
Similarly, like with that vacillation, then we have it between the G and the G minor, G and the G minor, just like that sighing gesture, over and over and over and over and over. And then what do we end on? Something conclusive or triumphant? No, it's a G sus2.
Right. So no, it never does resolve successfully. It just leaves you.
No. So Ryan, I'm gonna flip out here to a different one.
Yep.
That I have transcribed because what it reminds me of. If I can find it. This was just borrowed from other parts of the internet. Wait, where's Discord? Discord. Stop streaming. Share. This reminded me of Asa's death from Peer Gynt. Because there's kind of a sighing like element, kind of this section. Like this.
Yeah. Last breaths. Boop.
Which is normally orchestrated. I just have a piano reduction of it.
Sure.
But like, and also just the fact that there's so much of it, right?
Yeah.
There's that like alternation. There's the falling. So that's what that was giving me.
Yeah.
We'll let it.
I think this is like the perfect example, and I didn't even think of this until you played it, and I was like, oh yeah, no, that's what this is. I actually think.
So that's that one. I'll switch back over so that folks can make their smart takes on end of battle here.
Pre-transformation? You mean just making it the parallel minor? Sorry, Andrew, I'm being a bitch.
Yeah, there's definitely like, I don't think it takes a musically sophisticated person to be like, this feels a little sad for me beating the thing, right?
Yes, and
It does have that
Thing actually good. Yeah.
It has that midway lift that kind of takes it out of the dirge. And
Yeah, for 1 minute, you're like, ah.
Yep.
Like, wait a second.
I had kind of, Twin Peaks, Laura Palmer's theme, where it just lifts for that moment and then slam right back into the muck.
I'm also taken with how many times, I was really hoping it was 16 actually, kind of the bell peal at the end does repeat, because it is more than it needs to repeat to simply communicate the semantic meaning there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but how cool would it be if it was like in descending repeats as you took down more colossi?
I think that'd be really fun, actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's such a neat one.
So
and then
this piece ends and you wake up and you hear the next piece that you also have, right, Dana?
resurrection, right? Is that what we need at this moment?
I think so.
The thing that Damien, the big organ thing. The organ.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, the big hands and all the stops are pulled out.
Yeah.
If you need that, just say organ and.
Okay, so the instrument right at the end is not an English horn, but I could not find a sample that worked in the musical limitations.
Women,
but
men.
definitely, yeah. I condensed. The chorus isn't written out enough that it's like a full separate choir in this one. There's a couple chords where it shows up, but I decided to simplify it to just. Which musical marks as women and men, high and low. We got tubular bells, so of course fate, and then we have organ heavily. So now it's cathedral like, and maybe somebody's dead. Tubular bells are very like funereal.
Oh, give me that Phrygian.
Very Phrygian. But we'll get the regular F sharp here. And now we get some metrical play here. And like imitative texture.
That's a heck of a bass soloist to be able to hit that E. Holy smokes.
It could just be in the organ. Like, again, these were quick and dirty transcriptions. I make no promises that they're perfect.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
And then we get the really nasal, which is why I went English horn.
Yeah,
and we just end totally outside. We had that beautiful A minor cadence, and then we're just like, nope.
What if this other thing actually?
Not at all.
So on the tubular, I can speak, bell sound.
Nuclear bell.
Right.
Totally tubular.
I couldn't help but think that we never get a silver or a golden metallic wedding bell sound ever in this soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a really evocative description of the sounds of bells for weddings and funerals in the original The Lady or the Tiger short story.
Oh my god, The Lady or the Tiger!
And
the man or the bear.
So, but in that story, the actor,
that is good, actually.
the man at center stage, the lover, is not the person making the choice. Crucially, the choice is made for him by the princess above, this unknown entity. And I can't help but think that we are being instructed in a very specific way right now as Wander, and not being told what the consequences of that are. there's a certain degree to which agency and choice, not unlike that famous short story with the evocative image of the funeral bells, is being chosen for us. We simply obey. BioShock, right? And I really like the imagery of the funeral bells suggesting which of those two potential choices have in fact been made or are being made for us here.
Deep cuts, good tie-ins, and great overlap. Yeah.
And like again, this was one of the last ones I did today. This section is really reminding me of something, but I couldn't quite like bring it to mind. Like there's a really specific reference this is for me, but I couldn't bring it up. I guess I used all my good connections with like the Grieg and some of the other stuff.
All the points.
Yeah. But, you know, all of this is to say, like, that to me isn't, you know, me attacking Otani for being derivative of classical music. That's me pointing out the, like, cinematic cred, right? Like, because so much of cinematic music is drawing from those types of sources. So.
Yeah, well, there's absolutely an amount of... You have to do your homework as a composer. You can't... Nothing is truly original, creates semantic meaning without being part of a larger conversation. This is just a sign that they've done their work to fully participate in that culture, right?
Yeah. So just like in that previous track, we kind of undermine that final cadence, which was kind of a neat moment. And yeah, just the metrical shifts in the middle, give it that kind of like chanty element in the middle, and of course the organ. Like this is definitely a churchy setting, and Phrygian, of course. Let's remember music history, friends. What is Phrygian used for? Like, also lament, right?
Sexy stuff. Awesome. That. There's a paper about Phrygian and like sex in pop music.
That's fun.
It's that. I didn't write it.
All right.
Would you?
Let's see if we can't hear that music one more time here. And while this is a longer journey, because it's not just a tutorial about how to ride the horse straight forward. Now, we have to do a little bit of exploring this time around. And I really, really like the decision, and in some ways it's a very brave decision, to have nothing musically here. Right?
Yeah.
It'd be very easy to provide you some sort of Skyrim, it'd be Morrowind for the time, adjacent, lush, lovely, orchestral exploration music here.
Yeah.
Right.
And the fact that they like, don't rules.
Or even something like what we got later, much later, in like Breath of the Wild, right? Like that sort of overworld. Like it could be somewhat sparse and still work to imply like the openness. That's my favorite thing about that score, right? Is they kind of let you breathe and let you take in the landscape because they made sure that the music wasn't hitting you over the head every second.
It's so much more effective when there's the space between.
Yeah. Space for you to just feel and breathe and react and explore. Because music can be too goal directed, where it quashes the urge to explore.
Sorry. That was jump scare to me.
Well,
Gotta
you
sit
get
far away from my mic.
You kind of have the problem of music telling you how to feel.
Yeah.
And there's kind of nothing worse than that, especially if you're not feeling it.
We constantly have that falling, like, half step. Ba-da, ba-da. It's all over the score.
Yep.
There it is again.
The half-tone lower neighbor, too, is unusual, and I really like it. It's, like, unusual in adventure game scoring. I don't know. Like as a melodic device.
And yeah, herein it's so featured. It's, like, very intentional, right? Like,
Yeah.
all over this score as, like, an identity marker.
Yeah. Thank you, A Bad Player North America, or whatever NA means, for this
North
description.
America.
Yeah, thank you so
Or
much.
a bad player? Nah.
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 Well, the question is, Brian, do you remember whether you have to play this Colossus, or have we crossed the line and now you can just freestyle any Colossus you want?
I think you can go to other Colossi. There are one of the, I don't want to say weird things about this game, but there's no equipment upgrades. There's no locks and key Metroidvania adjacent movement mechanics that unlock, except if once you finish the game, you unlock a time attack mode, and then you can start getting some extra pieces of equipment. But as far as I remember, on your initial playthrough of the game, this is the entire toolkit you receive.
And you can freestyle which order of Colossi you take down.
Yes, and I will note I have had a bow and arrow,
It's
but
like
I
Mega
don't
Man.
need one.
Which Robot Master do I want to do next?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Except that you don't get anything from the Colossi. They're not useful.
That's true. We don't get rush coil. We do have our loyal horse.
Aggro.
Yes. He doesn't seem very aggro.
He doesn't seem very aggro.
No. But I do think the break in the music, you notice the half-step descent string line is gone now. I do think I could leave and go do something else. I'm not going to do that for the sake of hearing a little bit of time.
Oh, and also we misgendered the horse. I remembered this like as soon as we said it. That
Is it a girly pop?
yeah, the developers made comments later that she was often mistaken for a male, but she is a loyal steed and his only companion throughout the game.
I just hear aggro. Makes us feel. Oh. On the point of music telling you how to feel and how and what to do,
Yeah.
I'm easily distracted, and after I did the first Colossus in the original game,
Yeah.
I stopped playing because I was
Really?
like, "There's too much. There's nothing here." I know there's another Colossus, and I actually think I tried the next one, and I was like, "All right." The game
Was
did
it
not
just
grab
too, like,
me.
open-ended
And it's
for
my,
you?
It's
it's
not.
my biggest shame. This is the first time I've said this because I'm like, I think Shadow of the Colossus is a great game, but I can't speak to it because I stopped playing.
Wow.
It's not my game either.
And I wonder if part of that, now I'm thinking like, do I need a little hand holding from the music to tell me where to go or something, or to like keep me going? I don't know. I don't know if that was it. I mean, I was not adult yet, but almost.
Well, that's the thing about it. It's not. It's certainly not a Twitch game, and it's certainly not a compelling game in like a Hollywood popcorn movie. You know what I mean? It's way more Rush of the Sci-Fi than MCU. So it definitely.
Are you calling me
has-
a Marvel superficial? What else?
Nothing but a marvel of
I want
mean,
us
there's
to pay
a cape.
attention to this track for a moment, because this is a new
Oh, well,
track
okay.
for us. And this is a very
sounds pretty cool.
heroic Marvel moment track.
Thanks for bridging that gap.
No problem. Happy to do it.
Oh yeah. And we're in compound too.
And I mean, this is where, the music is manipulating you here, because, if you've had moments of like, what the heck, what was that victory theme? Like, it feels like a requiem, what's going on here? When you're in battle, you're like, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah,
this is right, this is
I'm
correct.
doing the thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just like to pick up items off the ground, and there just wasn't that.
Yeah, I'm one of those too.
Shiny objects. That might make me a marble-headed hoe.
Well, it's certainly what made the game stand out at the time is that it was the opposite of that. Right?
Yeah.
In a landscape
It was
of
a weird
games where you
game, yeah.
pick shit up all the time,
Yeah.
like it stood out for not.
There was
being.
no picking up shit, exactly. And I respect it. I respect it for this, and I am enjoying watching it.
So beautiful.
Oh yeah, just shake it off.
Pick up too many acorns in games. Yeah.
It's for me, this is all just like gratuitous. You know? It's like weirdly gratuitous.
What part of it?
Just, I'm
Like
just
stabbing
running
them in
around
the
killing
head.
things. That's all. I'm just
I
running
actually
around
think
killing
it's
things.
weirdly
Bad.
graphically low violence given what's occurring relative to other
It
PS2
is.
games at the time. Because
I don't mean that it's
God
gory.
of War PS2 is a thing that exists here.
It's not gory. It's just I'm killing this thing and I don't know why.
Yeah.
And you nailed it.
That too.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah, I felt
I don't
want
wanna
to
do that.
one, actually.
I don't feel good about it.
Is
I don't
really
like it.
fighting you, or is it just defending itself? Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And the
that's
music
why
is
I've never.
telling you, yeah.
That's why this has never been my game because of that. Like I don't want to play it.
Too much.
Well, but and that take, I guess, to me is again its strength, because most games ask you to like endlessly kill things, Right. And so for it to be such a focus and for you to have that feeling, I feel like is really the point in some ways, and it certainly towards the end turns on you in exactly the right way to substantiate your feelings. So I feel like that's valid.
It's just like I can appreciate the beauty of it, but it's not a game I ever want to play. I just don't like, and I'm cool with killing things in games. If there's a good reason.
Normally,
or if I'm in the right mood, but this game does not put you in the mood.
You played a heck of a lot of Assassin's Creed.
I have, and I'm cool with that. I will assassinate the bejesus out of some people when I'm told that there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Or even if I just feel like it, but it's different than coming after a creature that hasn't done anything to me.
Yeah.
One of the things I really like about this particular game is that, unlike Undertale and Lena's Inception and a number of other titles that kind of give the player a way out, you're culpable here. And
you are made to feel that.
Yes. And there's never a fourth wall break where Dorman turns and looks at you, the player, and says, Ryan, you suck at life. You are terrible.
Did this.
In the way that Sans from Undertale calls you, the player, out. Right? But what do you do for a game in which we have been trained to do violence? And in fact, this is the only thing we're good at and can do. You can't make any peace here. You can't say, you know what? She's dead. I have to make my peace and mourn and learn
Get
what
some
that
therapy,
means.
move on.
Right? No.
Hit the gym.
No, I'm just gonna like slaughter innocents or whatever the heck, and I'm like, oh, I don't like this. I just don't. I don't like it.
Do you think I'm?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, keep going. Do you think that if this game had things like picking up collectibles, maybe crafting, maybe something with a horse, if it had those side things, would that kind of almost ludically make it easier? Not easier to kill, but like sort of like you get so into the game in other ways that you're like, all right, now I should just go kill this boss, and so I can go back to like my crafting and collecting acorns or something like that. Like I wonder
think that you would become immersed enough in other game activities that you wouldn't stop to think nearly as soon as I think you do about the capability with which Wander never really identifies here.
Because it's very much like this is what you're doing. This is the only creature. This is the only music.
Yeah.
And I think that makes
the minimalism like focuses you in a way.
Focuses exactly. It's like a prism on what you're doing here in a way where I can't pick up acorns to distract myself.
Right,
So I don't know if it would, but I'm just curious.
I mean, it might put you off for a little while, but I still think for me, I would end up with the same question. I really would.
Yeah.
And it just unsettles me. I don't like it.
Yeah, and they do get around to answering the question in a kind of way for you. So whether it's worth that moment of transcendence after 16 Colossus of gameplay, let's say, but again, it is minimalist in its intention to drive you down that road of having those feelings without escape in potion crafting or fetch quests, but what I love about this is we're headed to the third Colossus, we have some choices, and like riding the horse, like we could walk too, actually.
We could.
We could. But there would never be music. It is a long way in the grand scheme of things, and you're just kind of there with your thoughts during travel. And so it even puts a heavier weight in what you're saying about the mindlessness of killing in this game. And it does ask you to sit with that. For sure.
Unless I've missed something big, this is the biggest explorable space on the PS2 generation of consoles by a country mile. The only one that even comes close is Morrowind, which isn't really a console game. I am aware that an Xbox port exists, but by the developer's own admission, it's not a good one, and they pulled out every trick in the book to get it to run on the Xbox.
Yeah.
So I wrote... I actually pulled up my dissertation, which I haven't done in a while because I have a whole section where I talk about silence. And so, not news to like most of the people here, but we do have some students, so like I'll over-explain. What we're hearing most of the time is what we call diegetic musical silence in film music studies, where dialogue and music fall away. So all we get is like ambient environmental noises, like the wind and the, through the grasses and the horse hooves and the echo of a character's footsteps and things like that. Claudia Gorban's Unheard Melodies kind of coins that term, but a lot of us will keep referring to it. And I wrote, to quote myself to be that jerk, diegetic musical silences can create ambiance and give a sense of depth and space by helping the player to focus on natural sounds left in the diegesis. For example, the sound of the tree leaves swaying in the breeze would add realism to a forest scene even if the graphics were subpar. But programmers and sound designers can also use diegetic musical silences to unsettle, to make the player acutely aware that something is wrong. And I think that there's a bit here where like that contemplation does get pretty dark as you keep going, and as this cycle keeps repeating.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
And
okay, and when you said something wrong, get back in the water.
Yeah, you got it.
Like
You get back in the water.
So there's a very finite number of variations to swimming. They're always the same. The dynamic is always the same, and after a while, it's repetitive.
Yeah.
Even when I'm not talking over it, or especially when I'm not. And what I found is that in order to avoid that repetition, because it broke me how consistent it was, I would swim underwater like all the time.
Ha!
Oh yeah.
It was such a beautiful break from the consistency of that water splashing. And this was a beef that I wanted to bring up with it because...
Is it updated?
No, it's not updated. Look, listen, this loops annoyingly. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually have a student doing, for his senior portfolio, a sound effect rescore of a different game. And it's a sequence from Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. And this type of swimming effect, I would tell the student, good job on making one good, believable swim stroke. Now go record that again 6 times. Right? And then shove it into a randomized container so that I don't have to hear the exact same recording every moment.
Same thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And like, independent of how fast you're swimming, how well, whether you're upright or
That's right.
horizontal, like there's no dynamic to it, and I think that's what I'm really calling out, even with the remaster, to not take
Pizza,
that
stop swimming, please.
opportunity. But again, we'll be
See,
reverent.
Once Damien points it out, you can't unhear it, can you?
Yeah, you really
Yeah.
can't. And it does remind me of like some of the Assassin's Creed stuff. Like there was a lot of swimming in some of those games, and they can be awfully repetitive. And I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I would duck and I would dive under and
I
I
want
would
to point
swim
out
underneath.
here,
That's so interesting.
in terms of not wanting to overfill the soundscape with sounds of things like life. Usually I have a complaint about this sort of thing when I can transit the grass and we don't hear very much rustling. We certainly don't see any physics interactions here, right?
Yeah. Well, we hear rustling,
the
right?
footstep changes, but there's not as much plant rustling as you would want.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to hear my favorite,
But I actually
like There I Ruined It of game sound?
Hold on one second. I like that we hear the exertion from Wander, but we don't have a lot of interaction with the plant life. And part of me wonders, did Blue Point add a little bit of grass touch to this in the remake that was not present in the original, which seems likely, and therefore there would be no new physics interaction. Or how much of this is intentionally kept barren so that we can maintain the effect of the silence until we get to the top here where we will trigger the music for the boss. Because too much soundscape here,
is distracting because it's all that's there.
Is this also a processing thing too that would be a problem?
It wouldn't be on PS4
Like in the
for
original,
sure.
in the original of like having that much of a draw distance and then making every little blade of grass rustle. I don't know.
It wouldn't have
this
been every
makes the
blade of grass
rustling
back then. It would have been, see this patch here? The patch would become activated. It wouldn't have been an individual render back then. And I'm pretty convinced even in this game on the remake it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I meant every patch, but yeah.
Let's pick this apart though, because as we're going up this, I can't hear the fidelity of it with precision, but you have an opportunity from an environmental sound perspective to change the ambient as you get higher. So you use the elevation as a property to, maybe you hear more water lapping at the bottom, you hear more wind at the top, right? There's a transition or crossfade zone in between. And
even if you didn't want to preserve Wander's height as a variable all the time, this is a linear enough sequence, which is to say, if I want to get up here, there's only one way up, and I just did it. You could track the player
There's two ways down, though.
There are two ways down. But you could track the player is on the bridge now. Therefore, change the ambience to the bridge ambience. And here, if I... Oh, no. Yep. You all wanted me to fail. I hate you all.
We called it before streaming. We were gonna fall off something you shouldn't have.
Yeah, but you have to.
And now we get to hear this lovely loop again.
Splishy splashy.
And this is why I went underwater.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah, that's like a real life thing where you go underwater to kind of avoid the pool party. It's so calm under there.
No, Julian, that's just you.
Hey.
It's not. It's not just
Me
you.
and Parrot can be underwater together.
As long as we can come up for air every once in a while.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the one and only time this has ever happened to me at a public conference of anything. I walked up to Julianne at some AMS SMT meeting, and I forget which one now, and I was like, hey, I think I might actually be, done with people for the night. And immediately, she was like, oh my god, it's finally happened. I can leave. Let's go.
It's finally happened. Let's get out of here. Oh my god. Oh yeah, we were sharing that room. AMS SMT, one of them.
I can, in fact, make this jump, though. I have to be able to. I'm just need to, not be bad. So
don't forget the grip.
Right.
You gotta
grab
grab
that.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Grab that.
There we go.
Oh, that
There.
was a snap to grid if I ever saw one.
Close enough to count.
It's a Prince of Persia jump, though.
Yeah, it is. There it is.
Oh, hello.
3 words for you. Don't fall off.
Yeah, thanks, Damien. I appreciate that advice.
Play good, Ryan.
Play good.
Good. And DFO.
Right.
Scale. Size and scale.
Guy's like a predator, so I'm trying to feel good about it.
No, I don't want to stand still. I need to wait for him to whack at me and then dodge. Hold on. I don't see where to shoot with the bow. Does anybody remember?
The weak point. It's in the weak point.
I think you just have to wait for him to smash.
Oh, yep. And then I run up the sword.
You run up the sword like a ramp.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and then at some point he has to smash that thing on the ground.
Ground smash. Oh yeah, that looks like somewhere to stand.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, some music.
Over here.
A very loud soundscape. He's very stony.
Sounds like a seating audition for a violin. Very detailed.
Sorry. I like when he just falls. For no, like just on the ground, like trips.
No, I took a hit from his leg there.
Okay, because I was like, that's a great mechanic to add where you just, sometimes you trip.
But I want him to swing with the thing.
Here we go.
Oh god.
That's what I wanted besides the breaking my leg part of it when he did it.
Oh, you got to the point where it tells you how to beat it. Yes!
You gotta get him to throw down on the ground one more time. On top of that giant metal thing. So that it breaks his wristband.
Yeah.
These Colossuses walked so that the Taluses in Breath of the Wild could, I guess, also walk. Because...
Right here.
Well, now I really am curious as to the first mechanic of giant enemy, where you have to wait for them to kind of give you their a path up. Ah! Oh. Stage 2.
You mad, bro?
Yeah. Now we got this. I just need to back up and not die.
Don't die.
Nope. That was a snap to grid moment also. Did you see that teleport under there? I'll take it though.
While you're climbing, I'm gonna go get more tea here.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna refill my stamina meter right here.
That's what I'm gonna call it when I get my faculty coffee. Refilling my stamina meter.
That's a good way to frame it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Come on, go. Up, up, up. When you lose on stream, you should always blame the controls, by the way.
Totally.
I know I do. On or off stream.
Trolls are dumb.
I'm sure they made updates to the way the controls for this game handle for the remaster, and the controls still feel extremely clunky. Floaty.
They did make a couple updates. It's better than it once was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. Yeah, the game feel of this game was not very good, as I recall. But again, I only did one.
No, you're
Colossus.
right, though. There's
You
a
got the
lot of
gist.
other games with a better gameplay feel, and actually, I think it works towards the morality of the game that it is difficult to do this and clunky.
It's fair. I mean, it's the whole game. It has a kind of, finger pain threshold too. That when you have to constantly grip in order to stay attached to it.
Yes.
So there's like a tolerance threshold as well to it.
Is this a Stockholm Syndrome thing where we just point out all the bad stuff and we're like, that actually makes it good though? They
Yes.
couldn't figure out a field theme, and actually that's everything. And it feels like shit, but that just makes you feel bad about. Wait.
Nailed it.
Andrew, heaven forbid committing murder is difficult.
But here's the thing, in this medium, it is not difficult,
Yeah.
right?
Emotionally, and a little bit.
No, come on, just raise your arm.
A little bit mechanically. It varies by the Colossus, I think.
Do you have to tickle one? Is one of them like a little ticklish? I saw you
tickle
go
me,
near the
Elmo.
armpit, and I really thought about it.
Yeah,
I need to
you
feel my
haven't seen that
stamina
one
again.
Colossus that's red and it's got these googly eyes. You got to tickle it.
Oh no.
It's canonically 3 years old.
That laugh is gonna haunt me.
Alright, where else am I going? It's done in the head now.
Yep.
Same,
Stab it in
girl.
the butt.
Kind of challenging to
Stabbing in the butt.
still be up and about when your head is
Done.
done.
Finished.
Oh yeah, it is in the gut right here.
The music just keeps epicing.
Yes.
Yes.
Infinite epic.
Yeah.
And this is one of the bosses you can, if you're willing to play it slower, bypass essentially the platforming aspect of it by using the bow from the ground. You can actually do damage if you're patient.
Oh.
But this is quicker.
There's,
Okay, I will
like-
say that in that case, the little like PS4 trophy like knocked me out of the immersion a little bit.
I was just gonna
Yes.
say, like in a lot of games, like I want to hear a paper about the PS4 achievement sound in games and like what it does to play. It's very there's
it
a there's
absolutely breaks some
vibes.
of the cinematography to have the achievement levels there.
it breaks the cutscene,
Yeah.
but also there's sometimes you don't know if you beat it, and it's also tells you that you have in a way or whatever the thing is.
Yeah, it like doesn't let the animation
Interesting.
fully play out
but
before it's
in
giving you
Colossus,
the
Yeah.
when you finish one of these, there's a complete freeze frame that occurs. You know you're done. And I don't think the game ever uses that system to lie to you about the state.
Yeah.
Ugh. The way that there's 3 standing over like ugh.
One
It's
more every time.
crazy.
Chills.
There you go.
No organs?
It's there in the background now.
They're so quiet though. Why? It's like quieter than before.
I think it's after the 4th one we get a bigger cutscene. Here it's just, okay, keep going.
Oh. Okay. Quiet organ.
Thy next foe.
One thing that's kind of interesting about the way that the game transitions is, and there, you know, maybe we're spoiled today to never see a load screen.
Yeah.
But there's no load screen.
No.
And
Yeah.
the day, that was kind of a revelation, right? Yes, they take the control away. Yes, they have that long tunnel that you have to fly through. Yes, they are covering those loads in creative ways. But I think it's a pretty classy cinematic experience to not throw that load screen up, to keep sound moving across those transitions. That was not to be underestimated back in the day.
Yeah. The only time that you hit any sort of barrier about a load is, no, I want to pray in front of this thing and regain my health. How do I do that?
Close.
Pete, I feel like this is your paper to write. Like, this feels like something that you would do really well. Like, because I'm thinking of your stuff on currency. So, like, I don't know, the success sounds and, like, comparing them.
Oh, the achievement stuff. Yeah.
The one moment that does feel like a load in this game is after the black, like, excrement, whatever stuff, flows into aggro at the end of the Colossus. There's a brief fade to black as you reload the temple again. And that's clearly a load from disc, even in this remake. But that's the only one, and that was also the only one on the PS2.
But wait, that's before or after the tunnel that you fly through?
Right before the tunnel. I think it transits to the tunnel, where the tunnel animation covers the load of the temple, and then you get the temple. Not unlike, like, Chrono Trigger, right?
Sure.
Alright, where am I going now?
Alright, so while we're in the silence, I'm going to drop in chat a citation needs to happen tonight. Will Gibbons' wandering tonalities, silent sound, and morality and shadow of the Colossus. Which is
my introduction to this game.
Yeah, I think for several people, if they hadn't played it, but they were in Ludomusicology, they've probably read this. A lot of the things that we're saying here, you know, the silence is central to maintaining the artistic goal of fostering moral ambiguity in the player.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically the thesis. And at the time, I remember thinking how striking it was, because this was in what we call the Pink Book, lovingly.
The Pink Book!
Music and video game studying play, because of the pink. This was, I thought, pretty striking in 2014 to be like, oh, we're doing Ludomusicology, but we're focusing more so on the silence. It's not like he had transcriptions of the battle themes. He was mostly talking about the use of silence, and I was like, that's so cool.
I forget if I need to go around this. If I need to
memory.
Go up here. I'm gonna ride the horse around, because I don't think I can climb that very well.
But Arrow is here.
Hello.
Arrow.
Hello! And Rohan is Yams!
3 so far. We're heading to the 4th.
Yep.
We are. And I just get sadder with every one.
Yeah, you're supposed to. That means the game is working.
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah, through here.
I feel heavily guilty, and I'm not the one
all
doing
of the
it.
sucking is
Right.
actually what we're supposed to
Actually, while I was like reviewing the music and like prepping stuff for tonight, I was like, oh, do we have to? Like, do we have to do this at all? Which to
Yes,
me
we do.
is a testament to it.
Other examples of like games that you just don't want to play?
The big one
I
that
think
comes to mind is Spec
Undertale.
Ops: The Line.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know that one.
I
also
watched
don't
that
wanna-
one after having so many of my undergrads write papers on it. I had Joe play it because I'm not good at that kind of gameplay. And boy, when the white phosphorus scene hits, it hits hard.
I think
I
about
love
movies that I would never want to watch again.
But you're glad you
Similarly,
saw.
Right?
Yeah.
But then I'm glad I saw, right? Like
For
I
me,
love
that's everything
Dancer
by
in the
Lars
Dark.
von Trier. Dance Through the Dark was
But
exactly the one I was going to mention. How funny.
I'm just not sure I'd go back to it. Like the soundtrack is fantastic, and yet
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would take that ride again by choice.
Yeah, pretty much all of Lars von Trier is like that for me, where it's like I see it once and then I'm like, okay, good. I'm done now. I've seen the thing.
Requiem for a Dream. That's another one.
That's a good one. Also, like, very cool soundtrack to listen to outside of the film. But yeah, watching it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
The Substance. I don't know if I'm happy I watched it though, but I don't want to watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
To speak of a recent movie that came out.
Yeah, well played.
Oh, that's not it. Hold on. There's gotta be something down here, right? Let's do this.
One that I never
White
wanted to
Wall.
watch to begin with, but that I very much had that feeling about was when 13 Reasons Why came out.
Ugh.
Because I watched it because
Sorry.
I was teaching a bunch of high schoolers at the time and they were all talking about it and I
they all
watched it.
were.
Like I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
The way
Yeah.
it breaks every like best practice of how you depict
Yeah. I was
removing oneself from the mortal coil. Do we get censored on Twitch for that the way we do on other social media?
unalived. Yeah. You're right.
Unalived.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oofta.
Yeah, it like does everything exactly the wrong way for not glamorizing. And I was
Yeah.
horrified.
Me too. I watched it to get a sense of what everyone was watching, mostly younger people than me,
Yeah.
and I was angry. I was like, I couldn't finish it.
I had
like,
students
watched
that
2
wanted to
episodes.
talk about it and like the very important conversations that I needed to have with them, so I did have to
Yeah.
finish it, but I was
Yeah, I didn't have responsibility. Man,
The
ugh,
map
was
is
tough.
kind of wild here, I have to say.
oh
Excuse
my
me,
God.
what? The map? Data? Get it out!
on it. Don't worry. We have a not a map stream, Damien. It's one of our emotes.
It's a good one.
Because Ryan
I have to go to
always
the
talks
map
about
every-
the freaking maps in every game.
We're like, we haven't talked about sound in an hour because we are cartographically
Silence
distracted. Oh gosh, aggro. Yikes. Is this one going to be easier to kill for people? Oh no, it is fuzzy on the back. Okay. I was wondering if they were all like furry, you know?
So like
They're
if it's
also-
a lobster, it's easy to kill. Is that what you're saying?
This one has kind of like a giraffe, horsey.
Yeah, this is a little Horizon Zero dawning at me right now.
I can see that.
Oh,
You
that
need to
game
find
is
a
so
softer
good.
spot.
Soft
Yeah.
spot. Right in the ribs. That always hurts.
Yeah, I think a movie that has games too that have like replay value, are very, very different from like ones that cause this type of like deep feeling, but I don't want to do it again. But there's also ones that like I'm just not compelled to go back to. Like, okay, I played that. Like, I remember when I did it. It's done. So those are kind of in the center where like they're not leaving a strong enough impression for me to want to go replay for any reason.
Right.
But, I mean, for me, one of my big ones is that Dragon Cancer is almost unplayable since having a daughter. I did the bulk of that work before I had a kid, and I don't think I could have started that work post having a kid.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of stuff I can't do now.
yeah, that one's intense.
That developer just released another game this last year, didn't they?
I think so.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, excuse me. How am I up this late? This never happens.
need to figure out how to injure this boss.
Mm-hmm.
Rear, maybe?
Is there an environmental puzzle?
I didn't see anything in the environment this time.
No.
It's not a couple. But the most recent is Painted Waters, which is a one-button video game for kids.
Ah.
It looks
honestly, I
like
should
one
look
could
into
knock
that.
him off balance. Like the legs, the front legs are more precarious than the rear legs. But I don't see, maybe right there. Hold on.
Yeah. Did you try the rib? No, there's nothing in the ribs.
No, I don't think so. It's all bones.
Yeah.
So there you go.
You got the helpful bit. First. Underground. One strategy to consider is being good at the game. Sort of sounds like Strong Bad.
Man, get out of here. All right.
Consummate bees.
So let's go hide underground. This is a we saw earlier. This is a space with 4
Beefy
different
arms.
exits.
This, honestly, the Wanderer here doesn't really have very beefy arms. It's failing.
No, he doesn't look particularly masculine or heroic. In part because, again, we're not meant to think of his actions as particularly masculine or heroic a bunch of the time.
Did the music get verbed when
It
you went
did.
underground?
Yeah, the music is now. At least the gain has been lowered. I don't know about like a filter situation.
Did you say verbed? Like reverb?
Oh, yeah,
what does
like
that
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, like
Yeah.
reverb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
I
didn't
was.
meant like a pass filter or some sort of, but reverb. Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering if.
Like
Uh,
inside the space. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is weird because we're talking about 2D music, unfiltered, unprocessed by the environment. It's not like it's reflecting off geometry or anything.
Yeah.
But then somehow when you go underground, it's getting processed through the environment all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool.
It is cool.
Does it have is there a reason other than it's cool? Because
It complicates the diegesis question, doesn't it?
yeah.
Why should that have any bearing?
I don't hear it changing, but
It did the last time and it did not this time. I was going to give it a second.
oh,
It could be how far away you are from the
maybe it takes and needs the phrase to finish or something.
Colossus.
I mean, this part is weird. Meh. Does that always happen? Does that happen outside? The meow stuff. Like that feels like something that faded in the first time and the second time.
Beep, boop.
I appreciate a game that doesn't make me do inventory management. Like with arrows.
Okay, it definitely did not get dynamically processed through the environment this time.
No. I might have misheard it too.
I really thought it did the first time.
Maybe
I
we
did that.
expected it to, and
Or
yeah.
maybe the music's changed to a state now that I know to hide under the ground.
Yeah. It might be just in the music.
But here's the thing, I still don't know why that is useful, unless I can get a shot off on the rear of it better.
Did you just have someone refresh your beverage?
Yes.
What is it?
That's
Well, it's my husband, Neil. This mysterious person. But
That's the way
put
to
new
do it,
ice
though.
cubes in my drink. And then also, I don't really need a glass of wine, but in case we have cookies.
Just in case we have
been a
trouble
long
getting
day.
through the next Colossus here.
I know.
How warm is it in Florida right now?
How warm?
Yeah, how warm is it?
Oh, it's like the perfect time of year for us. It's like 73 every day. And
Is it like
sunny.
you have ice cubes and a tank top? In fact,
I have the fan on too.
in this economy,
In this economy, definitely not the
just-
AC yet. I refuse.
So, I have
still
to
have
think
inches
that
of
the
snow.
hill can give
Oh my
me enough
gosh.
height to grab the rear of this monster if I position him perfectly.
Okay.
But, Dana, do you mind looking up and seeing if I'm right about that? For the sake
Sorry,
of
what?
time here?
Cheat code.
Yeah, can you look up Colossus 4 and see if I'm supposed to use the hills as a height boost to climb on top of it without it noticing me?
Head to the furthest hill, bombard it with arrows, wait for it to be roughly 5 meters away from the hill, head to the underground tunnel, come out left or right tunnels, hide around the corner outside the tunnel and keep an eye. Don't let it see you. It will move around the hill after you appear. Do not let the game fool you. It will position itself onto the hill again. What happens? Does a 360 turn and then positions itself properly on top of the hill. Stay put and don't move. Wait for it to lean its head down.
Okay.
And then, yeah, go toward the back and then climb it. But yeah, you can't let it see you. In this
It
loop.
hasn't, yeah. Nope, come on.
Try one of the legs.
No, it's right
Oh,
here.
there we go. Got it.
But when does
Those
the...
ledge markers.
What I want to know is when does the music start telling me I'm in, like, heroic epic mode? Because it hasn't...
You're not. Oh,
There
there
you
we
are
go.
you in the bad place?
It was like, okay, fade out, fade in. Okay. The orchestra's getting their shit together.
The orchestra is like, oh, quick.
The like percussionists were like called and they're like, come on.
Right.
For anyone that's done pit orchestras, like
Yeah.
you're getting to the point where like, oh, the rhythm section was vamping, and now we're like, they're getting on stage. We need to get our instruments up really quickly.
Like, wake up.
Yep.
Yeah.
The number is about to start.
Put that 3DS down, Doug and Kristen. It's time to get relic.
Link, wake up.
Oh, I'm not doing any more damage right now, actually. Look at that.
What is happening? What is not happening? What is that? Why?
Look for another spot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
like-
must be another spot.
Tickle it.
Oh, there's
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Oh.
Getting more epic.
Yep, the trophy thing is annoying here. Yes.
Very annoying.
I'm guessing that there's a setting in the system prefs on the PlayStation to remove
My
achievements
guess is you can turn that toggle off, yeah.
Yeah.
for the cinematic experience.
Yeah.
I
It's
remember
almost like
always
I
wanting to
expect
run
it now.
away and see if you can, like, not get stuck.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have a later
Tried
save
that.
on this, Ryan, do you?
I do not, sorry.
Okay, because you had me do Lakeside and Prayer, but we won't get there, because that's the 7th and 8th Colossi.
I know. They're just very good.
We can, like, look at them independently.
We should.
Yeah, we should. Let's get through this cutscene and I'll pause that. We'll look at them independently because we only have 10 minutes
Yeah.
here. I'm really impressed at how faithful this remake is because of all games it would be tempted to add something to. And I actually think, with the exception of the one thing they did add, which I will point out shortly, I think adding very much would be fatal to the experience. You could ruin this.
It's true. It's true, and I'm so glad you're going to bring it up. I can't believe we only have 10 minutes to unpack it, but it's brilliant. I'm sure you'll push people to the
I will.
longer form. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I will link that.
Because I have you to thank for that already.
It's one of my favorite video essays on the internet of all time. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Colossal Shadow. Almost the name of the game.
Throwing some given quotes in the chat here. Same time.
Ooh. Hell yeah, Michelle Chion.
I know, I love the Shion stuff.
I love the framing right here, and that one was a slightly longer cutscene, like I suggested, for number 4, where Aggro comes and nudges the girl, and like there's a couple scripted things in there that are really nice. But before we jump to the music for Colossi 7 and 8, and I am glad I had you do those. It's worthwhile. It's good music. We have to talk about the map. You know you can't get away from it. At the beginning of the game, the narration that I said is mostly reinterpretable on your own terms and nonsense, and I stand by all of that. One of the interpretations of this is that the theory of intersecting points has real meaning in the game. And if you look with me on the map here, do you see the vertical line shooting north from the temple here?
Yes.
On the map? If I would take the time to go clear some map, which I'm not going to do, and remove the clouds from the map, which does happen in the PS4 remake here, there's a moment where that vertical line, where the cloud covers it, intersects a different spot horizontally on the map. That is a top-down view of a very cool series of columns and archways. And the original suggestion is that back in the era of playground arguments in a mostly pre-modern internet era, and 2005 is about the last full year that we can argue, you know, you can't just look up everything on GameFAQs right away.
It's like when YouTube started, too.
Right.
Yeah.
This game was well known from magazine interviews with the developers that initially more Colossi were planned for the game than were implemented into the game. And it turns out that for reasons of PS2 development limitations and budget and time, and rhetorically, once you have 16 of these out of the way, you've made the point, rhetorically, that you shouldn't be killing these things, that, you know, it narratively just works. You don't need 24, which was the original number.
Oh, goodness.
But there were all sorts of rumors at the time that some of the missing 8, if you will, had in fact been developed and cut at the last second, dummied out of the game. And there's a lot of precedent for this. Final Fantasy IV's US release dummies out multiple skills, multiple items, and I do realize that the PS2 is a different type of scale, but the idea that something exists in a debug mode rendered invisible to the player is a thing that occurs, right? Even in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which is a contemporary of this, I will note, there were whole missions that were dummied out for reasons of maturity rating and various other reasons that it's content, players therefore want to access it and want to find ways to get at it. And the goal was to develop a way in the game to find one of these missing Colossi. There's an amazing essay, not just about Shadow of the Colossus, but about the history of internet forums and the idea that this used to be a matter up for playground debate. Fact ceased to matter in this conversation.
Mythology.
That's right, it becomes its own mythos. Yes,
Folklore.
Absolutely. And one of the things that this remake has added, the only thing that this remake has added, is, and I think I'm just going to mute the game here and play the last 4 minutes of this video, because it's really spectacular. But I will point everybody to the entire thing.
And then we can look at the last 2 tracks before we adjourn. I mean, not last
This
of the
isn't-
game, but the ones that you mentioned.
And actually, I will play yeah, the opening 2 minutes of this video, I think, and we'll leave the ending. If you want to spoil it for yourself, you can click over and see it. But this is the stuff, everybody. Hold on a second. Let me cue in my Twitch chat. Here's the link to the video, though again, I'm about to show you the first 2 minutes, so you don't have to click that, this link here. But there it is for later for everybody. And let me borrow my Discord window and share this YouTube thing to the stream.
Well, and just let me know if you ever want me to send you my Xbox 360 debug console.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Got a
Intriguing.
couple builds that you could, mess around in and go to places that you wouldn't be able to.
That's
I
love seeing people do that.
These days, you can
Yeah.
do most of the Shadow of the Colossus stuff via emulation.
Yeah.
But of course, again, back when this was a matter for playground argument, that was not the case.
Right.
So here is the first 2 minutes of this, and this is my favorite video essay. And for the history of video games, the class I teach at Michigan State to senior developers about the medium, this is the final day of class. So if any of my students are in here, spoilers, you will watch this video, cry with me a little bit, and then leave. That's the end of class. Because the idea is that this video is all about people building their own mythology out of a video game. It happens to be Shadow of the Colossus, which is a game that invites that conversation more than some others. But I always leave it, the end of that class is I tell them they are all going to make things that people care about. Like this. Which is a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling to end your semester on. Check this out, everybody.
Not a general discussion thread. If you wish to chat, please confine it to the rest of the boards. Thank you.
This is how forum user Ascadia started his post on the PlayStation forums just one day after Christmas, 2007. The thread was called Quest for the Last Big Secret, Mysteries of Shadow of the Colossus. He continued,
Fumito Ueda is infamous for his attention to the most minute, intricate detail. Such appears to be the case with most of the Forbidden Lands. Ruins lay toppled in the most likely angle. Coastlines bear signs of erosion. Even the dress on Mono's lifeless body is gently pushed back and forth by the wind. It is this same attention to detail, however, that would be the inattentive gamer's downfall.
In his 1,000-word first post, Ascadia laid out what he called the theory of intersecting points. In the opening of the 2005 PS2 game, a narration describes the origins of the game's world as the resonance of intersecting points. Most assumed that this, like much of the game, was simply metaphorical, but Ascadia thought differently. He identified 4 locations in the game's world, illustrated as glyphs on tiles in the central temple. He placed those locations on a map, and, like the opening voiceover instructed, found the resonance of intersecting points. This, he said, was the clue to the game's final secret. The thread opened simply enough. The first response asks if it's possible to shine a light from Wander's sword directly onto the intersection of those points. A few later, a poster asks if it's possible to use a unique item for anything. The thread picks up steam, with more people theorizing about unorthodox elements of the game's geometry, and about 5 pages later, Ascadia summarizes what they found, what they need to do, and what it could all mean in the context of this last great secret. In his summary, his enthusiasm is obvious.
I think we're really close to figuring this out, my friends. Just a bit more.
Also, that's the best placement of music in a YouTube video essay of all time. It's so good.
Yeah.
That thread, and I'll leave it to everybody to watch the video on their own time because we're at 11 o'clock and I want to get to the sheet music quickly. That's the longest running thread that has ever existed on the official PlayStation forums. It goes on for a decade. That there are something like 3,000 posts over 10 years. People are trying to sort this out for Shadow of the Colossus. And if you romanticize arguing with your buddies on the playground about possibilities, when you were a child. This will make you young again. In the best possible way. But the punchline is that the PS4 remake of the game, which is what we played for the last couple hours here, the one thing they add is in the credits here. Where is that moment in the YouTube video? Let's pretend we have beaten the game and look at the credits.
No.
Special thanks to Nomad Colossus and the 79 Steps to Enlightenment is the last line of the special thanks in the credits. Before they thank the original Japanese team, of course. They have added 79 silent, fluttering collectibles across the entire worldscape of Shadow of the Colossus. No sound,
cool.
No sound plays when you collect one. They emit a tiny little sound like a firefly. And if you get all 79, Ascadian's original idea opens up in the corner of that intersection.
Aw. I love it.
And
So cute.
reveals the Queen's throne and sword from Eco sitting there.
Oh,
That's cool.
Which absolutely rules. That, like, the developers took notice over the decades, plural, of this crazy fan theory and then brought it to life for the players. I love everything about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh, fans. I love fans.
All right, Dana, we got to hear those last two pieces.
All right, so I sent you the YouTube video because I think you should actually just play the real, if you're able to.
Yes, I am.
Like have this show because like I'm not happy with the samples here for like Lakeside. So.
Okay. Yes, I can do that right here. So Dana, why don't you mute your... Oh, the transcription is so short, it'll just stay there. We don't need to time
it'll
anything.
just stay there.
Okay, perfect. Let me bring that up on the stream view for everybody.
This one's really atmospheric and cool, so like I don't want to play the one from here. The other ones, it was like it was close, like it wasn't so far off, but this one.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna watch that.
And again, probably not 100% accurate because I just did these in the past couple days from bed, sick. So.
Yeah. No, you are wonderful.
I'm in the ballpark, if
Yes, here's the Lakeside one. Yeah. And I think if I'm looking this right, we can see it now. Yes, we can. Okay.
Is there some kind of I'm calling it like a crystal synth. There's some kind of a crystalline thing that comes in the end here.
Let me actually share that window to you all on the call. Okay, so Dana's screen has the sheet music. My screen on Discord has the YouTube video. Here we go.
Yes. I think I can, yes. Okay. It's nice and short. It's only 4 measures.
I like that it's short, and I like how much reverb they can pack into a single track here.
Mm-hmm. Oop.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
that'll
not
just
that
jump
one.
to the... Yeah, sorry, that was the
This
playlist.
one once
so.
more.
Are you not hearing it, Pete? Oh, okay. Yeah, we're just we have my music up while we play the original because I don't like my samples.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some kind of like chordy, I don't know how many repetitions we have of the octaves, but it was hard for me to tell like if some of these I could hear this, but I couldn't tell if it was also like a multi-track of the bouzouki. But there's definitely my favorite element is on the high notes. There's that like almost out of tuniness, but I think it's actually the second. So I think we get it. So it gives it just like a little bit of a like, ooh, something's off, right? It doesn't quite hit the E. And then yeah, we add in like the crystalline element just right at the end. And then throw in that G sharp. Like we're kind of in this E drone. The E is just like constant throughout this game, but we add in like our G sharp, but it's like it doesn't turn it major, right? Like,
right, and that's what I really like about the
vibe.
track is that it remains ambiguous, even though we clearly end with the third. And I also really like how much resonance gets used to tell us we're underwater musically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
right? It's a fun example of water without waltz time, which I really like.
And then last, this is also one page, which will be convenient for us. Prayer. So this is after the 8th Colossus. This is for the 8th Colossus. So this track is kind of solo piano-y, which is why I didn't get to do like absolutely everything for it. I mostly just focused on this part. So we can listen to it and then I can make some comments.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like there's that ambient grody stuff that I just didn't do. There's that crystalline element again. Also, what are key signatures? I have asterisks there for the keen eye. I'll talk about it. Ooh. We
got that Lydian. Or yeah.
Back. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if folks have comments
to Frank Newman.
before I jump into a couple of my things.
You have at it, Dan. I've got a couple things, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, so and can we hear me? I'm not muted, but
I can hear you. Yeah.
okay, so like stream should be able to hear it.
Yep.
Okay, so first off, like the first thing that jumps into my head in this intro is Gymnopody by Eric Satie. Specifically. This motion.
Yeah.
Right? So definitely like heading into kind of the B theme of Gymnopody and like just the texture of the kind of three main gestures, even though we're in 4/4. It just felt very Eric Satie Gymnopody. But then I also got a Claire de Lune Debussy moment, which is right here.
Oh yeah, there it is.
And specifically, it was right here.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, I actually transposed it to the right key so that it would be like even clearer.
Yeah.
But in both cases, that's like a harmonic thing that was standing out to me, like a little bit of texture, but like that was most of what jumped out to me about this one. And I view both of those as very like contemplative piano works, right? So,
well,
yeah.
And it's after the 8th Colossus. It's the halfway point of the game, and you're then meant to actively start thinking, if you haven't already been, that something is up, right? that maybe either you will not get what you want, which is Mono to come back to life. Maybe she comes back to life, like, deformed, grotesque. There's a panic about that
Wrong.
at some point, right?
Like a Lazarus effect, yeah.
Yeah, like a Lazarus Pit style effect. And then there's maybe the whole thing hinges on some sort of betrayal, right? And there's like another final narrative climax. And I actually think it's crucial that Shadow of the Colossus never does give you that, right? There's no big evil to defeat there. Even though evil is at work against you here, you are being manipulated the entire time, but you never get the satisfaction of taking action against it.
Yeah. It's a neat piece.
It's just a bad game. I'm just trolling. I'm sorry.
Wow.
In many ways, I think it paves the way for a lot of games that invite us to have some introspection about morality.
Right.
Again, Undertale is probably the most visible one of those.
Through the ludic mechanics, like themselves, versus just narration.
And I think Undertale is a little too on the nose for me.
Yeah.
But I do like games that invite us to consider the damage of the play itself, right?
Yeah.
And Colossus just has that going for it 2 generations before anything else even thought about it.
Yep.
I'll throw a little Quantic Dream in there, you know, your Heavy Rains. Or, their take on that morality play, I think, evolved after the fact. Maybe they had that crazy David Bowie game before that, Omnicron.
Okay.
But
play
I digress.
That's true.
And Shadow of the Colossus nailed the that question mark around your intention of playing at a murder simulator.
Yeah. In any case, I wish that I could stay up later and play more of this game, honestly, because I'm having a pretty good time. But it's getting to be bedtime here, so I think we're going to have to call it a wrap. Damien, thank you so much for hanging out with us for a couple hours and chatting with us about this.
Thank you.
Anytime you want to come back.
It's a joy to have you.
Yeah.
Great.
And the 4 of us will be back next week with.
Do we know what we're doing?
We do not, as usual. We don't know what we're doing.
Are we just gonna do more Dragon Quest 3?
I do have my stream file backed up, so we could do more Dragon Quest 3 if we wanted to. But we'll see.
There's always Hatoful Boyfriend. We could romance a different pigeon.
So it's a threat, right?
That's the threat if I don't come up with anything else to do. Yeah, we're gonna have to play more Hatoful Boyfriend.
You say that like it's a bad thing. It was absolutely not a bad thing.
Goodness gracious.
All right, we will figure it out before next week. I have a feeling that one of the things we should do, since she just spoke up in chat, is take a beat from Brahanis Joms, Elizabeth Hamilton in the chat, who has been looking at the Steam Next Fest games with her ear to the ground towards the best of the next generation of indie content. And in a wake of large-scale AAA studio, we'll call it difficulties so that we can get off the air here, it's small teams and indie games that are going to be carrying us through the rest of 2025. So
yeah,
I think.
And Symphonia, I bought for Julianne when we were looking at that, right? Is that the one?
I'm like, I have that
I bought
game.
it for someone.
Thank you.
And I didn't buy it for myself, and I should. Because, like, I do need that game. So that's definitely one I want to look at soon.
Excellent.
So.
Nice. Maybe that'll be it. We'll see. We'll make some sort of plan. I have spring break starting. All I want is to sleep and perish for a while, team.
I have spring break for one of my institutions.
In any case, thanks again, Damien, for joining us. Thanks to everybody in the chat for hanging out with us. And we'll be back next week with more. Bye, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
All right.